Hello everyone, so I have one last tiny mini video here, still in P3 because we're still going to be talking about radicals, but I have two new objectives that we're going to talk about. Understanding rational exponents and then converting between exponential form and radical form. So first what we need to do is remember what a rational exponent is. So a lot of times our rational exponents are when we have fractions in our exponents, okay? So after discussing that, now let's talk about some vocab. We need to remember, okay, a radical sign is this. This is called a radical, right? A lot of times we call it a square root. We can have different numbers in front here. So that number, it's a really tiny number. A lot of times there's no number there, and that means there's an imaginary 2. That's why we say square root. But it can be any number, like there could be a tiny 3 there. It's called the index, so it could be a 3 representing a cube root. And then the number under our radical, this is our radicand, okay? A number under the radical is called our radicand. We talked about that before. So now let's go back between a radical form. This is radical form, okay? There is a radical, so it's in radical form. What is exponential form? So we can convert between the two. And notice some things here. First, let's highlight our index, okay? Notice that b, the number we talk about our index, can be written as the denominator of a fraction in the exponent. And our exponent can be written as the numerator of a fraction in exponential form. And I have that stuff highlighted down here. We want to be able to convert between the two. The index is my denominator, and the exponent becomes my numerator. You want to highlight that, circle it, star it in your notes. We want to be able to convert, and that's all this mini short little video is about, converting between the two forms. So let's practice. Okay, here we want to convert from exponential form. Notice A, B, and C, they all have exponents, but I want to write these all with radical, in radical form, okay? So let's do this first one. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger for us. Yeah. Okay, the first one, x to the 1/2. I'm going to write it as a radical, so I now want to have a radical, and my radicand is whatever term we're working with, x. I take my index, or my denominator, right? Notice my denominator, and it becomes my index, and my numerator is my exponent. So really, x to the 1/2 is just the square root of x to the first power. Really, we can just write it as the square root of x. Okay, let's do another one here. Y to 3/5. So I want to write this in radical form. I'll write my radicand as the y. I take my denominator and make it my index, and my numerator and make it my exponent. And that's all. That's all, guys. And then one more here. I'll want to get this in radical form, so I put my radical, I put my radicand. I have my denominator and I make it my index, and my numerator and I make it my exponent. But then I actually take a look at this and I think about, okay, this is the square root of 25. Well, I know the square root of 25, right? That's 5. So doing this allows us to do a lot of simplifying. Okay, check that out. Cool. Now the last example, we're going to go from radical form, notice A and B have radicals, to exponential form. So let's do this first one. The cube, this is how we would read it, the cube root of x to the 7th. So I'm working with the x, and exponential form, I'll start to get a fraction in my numerator. My index becomes my denominator. Oh, that's a horrible 3. My index becomes my denominator, and my exponent becomes my numerator. And there I have exponential form. That's all. Here we'll do it again. This says the square root of y to the 8th. I want to write as an x using exponential form. So I want to get a fraction going in my exponent. My index, the 2, becomes the denominator, and my exponent, the 8, becomes my numerator. So here, if I can simplify 8/2, we want to do that. 8 divided by 2 gives me 4, y to the 4th. And now we just went from radical form to exponential form. Guys, that's it. Just a quick refresher on how to convert between those two forms when we have rational exponents. You guys rock. Good job.